The Betterment Junkies.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am Mr. White. And I'm Mr. Black. And we are the Betterment Junkies. And we're here to talk about today is a current event, and that's exactly what Trump did today. Today, we can say the date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Today's October 30th, right before Halloween, and Trump came up all day on the news talking about one thing and one thing only, and we knew like we had to get together right away and talk about this subject. But I didn't know that I would get heated when I started talking to Mr. Black about this, because
You thought I agree with you.
a little bit. I knew you had some apprehension, but I thought you would agree. You just sound like a dick.
Why don't we just like define though, like what Trump actually said?
Yes. So Trump made a decision today to make an executive order for birthright citizenship. Basically, he wants to take away birthright citizenship, which comes under the 14th Amendment, which means if you are a child born in America of immigrant parents, you are rightfully a U.S. citizen because you are born in America. That has happened to me in my personal life. That is my situation. I am a child of immigrants, but I was born in America, therefore I am a U.S. citizen. He wants to take that away. Why? I don't know.
You don't fucking belong here. That's why.
Oh, what were you saying in the other episode? This land was built on my people. I'm an immigrant. So we discovered that Mr. Black was born in India. Not that we discovered, we knew that obviously, but Mr. Black was born in India, and then he came to America. He was only 1 year old, so he's still part of like first generation Indian American here. But he made this wonderful joke that, oh, this land was built on my people, and now he wants to take all that shit back because Trump said this, and he's like, well.
All right. There's 2 points to what Trump said that I'm not defending. First one, what he's saying is America is the only country that guarantees
No,
birthright.
it's factually wrong.
There's like 30 or 33 countries that do that.
Retarded.
And then the other thing
I'm
is,
sorry, I can't say that. Oh, sorry. It'll go.
I think we'll talk about that. I think you can say retarded, but and the other one was he was going to make an not executive. Is it an executive or is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was gonna make an executive order.
Yeah, executive order.
Yeah.
What I looked into, it's apparently more complicated than that. He just can't do that.
Yeah, he can. I mean, he has I think there's a constitutional right where the president has some sort of right to make executive orders. I think that's mainly within the first 100 days, but what Trump was talking about, he just can't simply do.
Yeah, and what he's referring to is actually the 14th Amendment, which is the 14th Amendment grants anyone born on U.S. soil is granted American citizenship.
Yes.
That's what the issue is. And why don't we flesh out your opinion first?
Well, when I first heard it, so first it was like I was at work it was early morning.
Your colleagues like all
yeah.
agree
Me and my coworkers, we went at it too, and I'm the one who I was on my phone as they were talking about some drama, right? And I just go and like Trump had this HBO interview apparently, and it goes Trump talks about taking away birthright citizenship. It was just a talk at the time, so I go, holy shit, you guys, and then I bring it up and we go into this hour-long debate like, man, now they're all on my side, they're like, that's fucked up, like they shouldn't do that, because a lot of the people I work with are benefits of that right, basically. Yeah. And so they completely agree with what I was saying, and then I went to lunch, and then it became Trump talking about executive order for me. Then I got pissed, and I got like, first it was just a talk, like, oh, this is some dumb shit he's talking again. Then I thought, like, this man is actually trying to put this in motion, like the wall and some other shit. Then I got pissed again. Just, like, about everything. Like, I want to go on a rant about Trump, but there's just not enough stupidity to go around.
And what I'll say is, I am not defending Trump. What I am defending, though, is this is a argument that's actually been under the surface for a while. Whether or not the U.S. should still grant people who are born here automatic citizenship, even if their parents are not legal citizens. I think there's an argument there.
Now I see why you take that point, because you aren't a recipient of that, technically.
What do you mean?
You weren't born here.
Yeah, so?
So I see where you're coming from. You just want to be a dick because you didn't get it.
No,
You're
I
just
mean,
a sourpuss. You're
nah,
like, why not me?
it makes sense though. I mean, it makes sense. Like, I just can't get over the fact that people are always just like, I guarantee you were about to say something else. We talked about this before, but I know you're going to say that America is built on immigrants.
But even you agree, though. You agree. Please
Yeah.
tell me you agree with that.
What?
Please tell me you agree with that.
Yeah, America was built on immigrants and is still built on future
Okay,
generations of immigrants.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean we let
It's just like a
anyone into
scientific
the
fact
country.
at this point now.
No, it's just we don't let anyone into this country. We can't do that anymore.
I'm not saying to let anyone into this country.
No.
I'm talking about people who are legally here. Yes, they are immigrants, but they legally made it into this country. Whether they have a school, work, or no skill, if they are here to contribute to this community and live in this country, then if they have a children here, they are rightfully an American citizen.
Okay, so what would you do if two illegal immigrants came here, had a child? What happens then?
That is not the child's fault.
Okay, but what would happen then?
Well, see, I'm not one to say like what ICE and what Trump does if you're an illegal
No,
immigrant.
I mean,
is
take
to
Trump
send
out
you
of
back.
this. Dude, we're
No, but-
talking about the actual issue
But
of
if you put
birthright
it on a
citizens.
political level, it's obviously an issue you have to solve. You can't have illegal immigrants in your country. But everyone's situational. You have a lot of illegal immigrants that contribute more to your country than you realize. So if you almost like put them through this like watchful eye of now we're gonna make you residential, and how you were explaining it, you can be residential but not be a citizenship.
Mhm.
Like you can start putting them through that process. Once you know that they exist, once you've caught them, they're not gonna hide from you again. So at least you can have control over that instead of just ruining a life and a child's life by sending them back to a worse situation. At that point, they should be treated as like a refugee law, like international laws with refugee.
I mean, but what? Okay, if it's a refugee, we have ways of entering this country
Yeah.
through those channels.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not talking about refugees.
I know we're not talking about refugees.
We're not talking. So we're not talking about people who come here through education. Because my dad came here as an immigrant, and both my younger brothers were born here.
Mm-hmm.
So they were, U.S. citizens. But
Absolutely.
my
Because
dad,
this is the land they were born on.
yeah, which is fine. But the thing is, my dad was here on a student visa,
Mm-hmm.
legally here, and then he became a citizen through legal means,
Mm-hmm.
and through that, our entire family was legalized here. But what I'm saying is,
Yeah, so he did it right.
but what's not right is
And
someone
his
just
kids
comes here.
benefited.
Someone just comes here on a long vacation, or
Okay.
a long period of time,
Okay.
and they have a kid here.
Which
And
is,
as
let me
Trump
tell you,
says-
that plan is pretty fucking hard to do. To just be like, we're just gonna try to find a way into the country to have our kid born there and then come back to our country.
No, I'm saying legally they come here.
Yeah,
but they can only be here for like 6 months, like visiting. Like you've had
you
grandparents
can't have
come
a
here.
kid in 6 months.
You can get pregnant and then come here and have a child.
If you're, I really believe if you're pregnant, they're not gonna give you a visa until after your pregnancy, or like
I mean, think about it, 6 months before you have a baby. I mean, would they even know you're pregnant?
I mean, that's a lot to falsify. Plus, it's also a risk for you to travel like that.
But it happens all the time.
I'll
I'll even concede to you that it may not happen all the time, but it's definitely plausible. It definitely happens.
okay, it's plausible. I'll give you that. It's
Okay,
plausible.
because I don't even know the numbers behind it. But
Okay.
I know it
I would
happens.
assume it's like that's a very low. Like you're kind of just like, even a 6 month or 3 months. That's a very short period to be like, I'm pregnant. I'm gonna pop my baby in this country and then head back after that visa. This is a very short.
but think about
devious
this.
plan.
Think about I'm. It's not like I'm an unsympathetic person. Like
It
think
sounds
about
like it.
think about their situation. Like if they're at maybe a country that doesn't offer them everything that they want their child to have, so they come up with a plan to come here and have a child. And I mean, if I were in their shoes, like that makes complete sense.
That makes complete sense.
And right now it's legal. I mean, it's kind of legal for them to do that.
It,
But what we're arguing is, should that be legal? I don't think so.
yeah, because they did it through the right channels and got here legally.
No, but they came here, let's say, on a visiting
yeah,
visa.
but
or whatever.
yeah, but that's still a visa that's legal.
No, but like when our grandparents come from India,
They came legally. The question is of the children who are born here with legal immigrants.
yeah.
These people came here through the correct channels. Whatever they're here for, it doesn't matter. They are here because we let them into our country.
But if someone comes here on a visiting basis,
We let them.
yeah, obviously we let them, but they're not. It's not permanent. They're not permanent residents. We let people come in all the time
But
to visit.
we're not making them permanent residents. The child who was born here, of whatever circumstance it is, you cannot. It's almost ethically wrong or morally wrong to say because that child was born here, you are not a part of this land. Like it's
No, you don't have to go
I almost see it
automatically.
as like a plant grew from this land, and somehow you're like digging up that plant and saying, "Well, this is technically called a Chinese plant, so nope, you belong
No,
to
see,
China."
this is why I get
Like,
so annoyed because this is not like people get way too emotional about this and they're not thinking
how can you not?
objectively about it.
But it's the
Like
I
the
know
entire premise of this is just like America is. I mean, I'm telling you, America is built on immigrants, but the fact that we should just let anyone into this country.
but that's not what I'm saying.
We have rules and channels.
But that's
for
not
people
what
to
this
come in
is
here.
about. This is about birthright citizenship. This is about illegal immigrants. I mean, I'm sorry, not legal immigrants who have children here. Whatever reason,
That's
whatever.
not the issue we're talking about.
That's the issue that Trump brought up, was to remove that. Was to remove that right for birthright citizenship. He doesn't want to give citizenship to kids who are born here from whatever circumstance. Because later on, after I was pissed and I calmed down, I read more into it. It seems more of a political ploy to me because of the coming up
I mean,
elections.
I don't give a fuck about Trump right now. So forget about the whole political ploy he did.
This is where my debate comes from. Is that the issue is he wanted to make an executive order to take out the possibility of birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship is solely the issue that I think that you were disagreeing on.
I'm going to put another point out there. 33 countries like America do that. Out of those 33 countries, 2 developed countries do that, America and Canada. Every other country that's within the 33 countries are on the western side of the world, which I mean is Central America and South America. India used to have it. The UK used to have it. They all appealed and removed it from their constitutions because it doesn't make sense. We have it ingrained here, and immigration is so in our culture because everyone here is an immigrant. But it doesn't make sense to keep doing it that way. And it's not a weird thing. It's not an evil or mean thing.
Why does it
we
make
have
sense?
channels to come into this country?
Okay, explain to me. Make me see it your way. Why doesn't it make sense?
In what situation is it fucked up? That in what way would this mess it up? That if you take away the birthright citizenship, in what way would this be like an abomination?
I'm not saying it would be an abomination, but you're almost punishing the child.
It's not like we have illegal alien, American citizen, and nothing in between. We have different statuses. We have American resident, permanent resident.
So is your solution to now give the child a different status?
No, give them a status just like their parents. Obviously, the goal is not to separate them. Don't want to separate them. I'm not ever putting out the idea to separate a child from their parents.
Because it's happening now. It's just fucking crazy, but go ahead.
No, but I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if both parents are either illegal immigrants or not permanent residents or U.S. citizens, then I would make the child like what's it called? A permanent resident, or I think that's the term, permanent resident.
Let me give you a little statistic, okay?
Right.
With this law, this constitution that gives birthright citizenship. Now, I'm talking about just the legality of legal immigrants doing this, right? That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Think about the millions of unauthorized immigrants that their children reap the benefit of this law. I understand that all these other countries don't do it, but let's just talk about USA, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, Canada also does this, but let's just talk about USA. USA is something special to me. America it's perverted now, but the reason it was like the land of dreams, the reason all these immigrants come to America is that the fact that America was built on immigrants. America is like we talked about this one time, and you brought out a great point. Like the reason America has so many more social issues, or seems like, than other countries is because these countries have a nationality. Like Indians are Indians. We have a culture. Chinese, America is a mix of cultures, a mix of people. Even Canadians we're Canadian. I know we say we're American, but the beauty of America is that we're all free will. I like the dream of it, the beauty of it was that when you look at the world and those bigger pictures come of like humanity coming together, that's what the idea of America was. Every single person of
That
every
shit's
single
past.
world.
It's
I understand.
done.
I understand it's past. But that's where this law came. That's a time from where this law came from.
No, so the
But listen,
history of that law.
I'm not done with my statistic. Shut the
Alright.
fuck up. All right. I just want to give you some poetry before that shit. All right. So now you have a country of a mixed pot of all these immigrants coming into your country. There are now, I don't know how factual this statistic is, but this is the roundabout numbers. Their estimates are 4.5 million children who are born to unauthorized immigrants. Unauthorized. So I was talking about legal. These are illegal immigrants that reap the benefit, that receive citizenship via birth in the United States because their children were born here.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4.5 million children of your future nation that I guarantee you out of that 4.5 million made a difference in your country because of this law. That is like, you want to talk about the ultimate power of running a country, economics, science, everything, art. You're literally like, I know you want to put a status on them, but once you put that status, like when you're here on a student visa and you're no longer a student, you got to get the fuck back, or you got to figure something out.
Yeah.
Like you're taking away that opportunity. You're basically taking away that stress-free environment for them to grow, prosper, and now they themselves call themselves Americans and want to contribute to this country, not the country that they were pushed back to and sent back to, but this country that they call their own home.
I'm not saying retroactively going back and pushing 8-year-olds back to their country of origin. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I'm suggesting a change in the law that would affect future babies born
But
here.
imagine this is from unauthorized immigrants,
Yeah, but
illegal immigrants.
First of all,
that made it into this country. Clearly, there's an immigration problem, but has it really hurt us or has it helped us?
a lot of people would argue that it has.
Those people are just fucking stupid.
No, but you're thinking emotionally.
No,
again.
I'm thinking big picture.
No, you're not.
No, I'm thinking in a bigger world.
Look,
like
I'll let you say your statistic.
I'll let you say your statistic. These little things on jobs, yada yada. No, this fucking country would not be where it was if these immigrants did not come here and do what they did.
Okay, what I'm saying is everyone here is an immigrant, so you have to be more specific when you say immigrant. Now, there are different channels that come into this country. Back when we had the boom, when people came through to the Statue of Liberty, bring us your weak, bring us your sick, that whole thing, there was a huge demand for labor at the time. A huge demand. Factory, industrialism, that was all going up. We needed bodies to fill the factories and to work. America was booming. Now, it's the opposite. We're in the tech boom. Jobs are harder. Jobs are going away. Automated cars are coming up. Soon, I don't know how many truck drivers there are. There's a ton of truck drivers. They're all about to lose their jobs.
What, because of immigrants?
No, not because of immigrants. Because I'm talking about technology. Automated cars.
Okay.
This is a different
because of Elon Musk.
Yeah, this is a different time. Jobs, there are no more factory jobs like there used to be. So when we have a different market,
these new technologies
when you bring in,
jobs.
yeah, but they don't create the same number of jobs as opposed to the previous.
Well, it depends if Elon Musk is gonna expand the world.
No, but those are
educated
jobs that we need, and we need corporations to stay in this country, because they boost our economy. If we have more educated people in this country, the more likely we'll have companies rooting here. More likely it will boost our economy overall.
I agree with you.
Now, if you bring in anyone, what I'm saying is,
from your point. Don't get away from your point, though. Okay?
If you allow anyone to come into this country by any means necessary, and you don't vet who's coming in, you no longer control your economy. You no longer control the status of what your current citizens are experiencing. Because if someone comes here from a horrible situation, I'm not talking about refugee status. I'm talking about they were uneducated, and let's say they were poor, wherever they were, and they come here, and they have no skills, And let's say, yeah, we hear all the time people making it work. But in the beginning, when it doesn't work and they have a child here, the American government supports them. Taxpayers support them. The entire reason people are annoyed at illegal immigrants is not because they're from another country, it's because they're not paying taxes, but the taxes we pay go to help them. They enjoy they enjoy a tax break when they should not be. These are some issues. It's not because we don't want different people
I'm
to come
sorry,
in.
you're kind of making it sound like their life is luxury because they get a certain tax break.
No,
But
what I'm
like
saying is like they come in.
even if you want to make it sound like that, even if you want to give them the benefit of the tax break and that you want to call that unfair, their children are not going to get that. You've now officially made their children and their future generations part of your tax-paying country. You are still somehow reaping the benefit of that immigrant.
18 years before would pay taxes.
Doesn't fucking matter. And then their children are gonna pay taxes, and then their children.
So
you're talking about 18 years for generations and
yeah, but
generations.
what you're saying is
forward.
so when is a limit? When does overpopulation become a problem? When does having
overpopulation?
No, what I'm saying is
some would
like
say now.
no,
Some
but then
would
why
disagree.
have a border then? What's the point of having a border? Who should we not allow to come into this country then?
I'm not saying you shouldn't. Like, obviously, you want to you want to make sure your country
As
and
long as you
borders
can
are
come
safe.
here and have a kid.
No, I'm not saying the primary goal is to come here and have a kid. But
Because
if
that's what you're kind of putting out there.
No, but if it happens to happen, whatever circumstance,
That's
then,
not how it works, dude.
What do you mean? How it's not how it works?
If it's not explicitly
I understand
stated,
you can plan pregnancy,
no,
but pregnancy
it's
works
not.
pretty.
If it's not explicitly stated in the law,
It is
people
stated.
are going to take advantage of it.
I know
You
that's
have
why
to-
it's in the Constitution. It's a birthright
No,
citizenship.
so the
That's why
entire
America's best.
the 14th Amendment wasn't there just for immigrants. The entire purpose of it initially in 1868 was that former slaves, when they had kids, their kids would then be U.S. citizens because anyone born on the soil would then be citizen. It was a way of transitioning between having some of your population being slaves and then becoming free American citizens. That was the entire purpose of it.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's why when people say to take away the 14th Amendment or that's our history, that's why it was actually implemented in the first place.
So what, you don't count like after Civil War history?
No, I'm saying that's what the purpose of it being introduced was.
Well, yeah, it's a part of the Constitution, though. It's introduced for a specific reason. The immigration problem at the time was Africans because that was the immigrants on this country. Now you have the world.
I wouldn't say they were like immigrants.
They were obviously
they weren't
I know
immigrants.
they weren't immigrants. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to dilute their history, but let's just at the time.
I think it was just you had a huge population
listen,
that
you
were
get what I'm
citizens.
saying. At the time, the
Yeah.
only people that were there, the country that were not already there, settled or whatever, even though they're immigrants as well, was the Africans that they brought over. All right, so they made this law. They did it for whatever benefit, whatever reason, but they did make this law and they made it constitutional because when they became free people. And they were also contributing to this country because they had no fucking way of getting back to Africa because of what these poor people suffered. They lived on this land and they lived in this country proudly and they contributed a lot to our history and to the point where we had President Obama. All right, that's just getting a little preachy. But why? Because the entire Constitution of America is based on your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That I believe that's what it says in the Declaration.
Granted to every citizen.
Every person has that right, and it's like it's almost like a theological thing that they thought of during the American Constitution time. That it was such a profound movement.
Yeah,
that's what made America America. So when they got rid of slavery, when people started getting educated and things like that, they got rid of slavery. These people that were having children here, they deserve that right too because now they are in this land. First, it was that they put themselves on this land because they traveled to this land. Then Africans came to this land because they were forced to come to this land.
Okay.
But because they were in the land now, they have the right for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness because you are in America now. Now, let's put it to today's world where immigration problem is, I'm not going to say the new slave trade, but that's where all these people are coming from on this land. All right. Yes, today's day and age is different. Yes, we have social media, we have terrorism, we have a lot of difficult things this day and age. But the concept is still there. The children of these people who are born in this land that will contribute to this land and call themselves American have a right to be a citizen like anyone else for the pursuit of happiness and life and liberty.
Look, if someone, I'm not saying, I'm not saying this is like a black and white situation.
I should get like a slow cap for
Fucking
that. Go ahead.
sucking your own dick.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, okay,
You know, right?
you have I keep repeating myself, but there are certain channels that come to this country. I'm not saying there's not room for reform. Maybe we need to allow more people to come
Your
into this
reform
country
is taking
legally.
the status away from them. That was your
No,
reform.
I'm not saying to go back and make children all of a sudden not U.S.
Yeah,
citizens.
but now you want to put them through channels. You want to label them as work visas. They're children. Like, when are they going to start
I'm not
working?
saying for them. I'm saying for their parents.
So if their parents are done with work and their parents are done with school and they have to be forced back, you want to force the children back too?
No, I'm not talking about retroactively. I'm talking about if a child is born here,
Mm-hmm.
they can become a permanent resident alongside their family.
So then that just creates more benefit to now I'm going to
mean, there are
whatever visa and come to this country and plant a child, and now I have the ability to stay in this country
look,
longer.
What happens if you...
That just perverts the system
If you're
more.
born here and you are born here as a citizen and your parents came here illegally, what happens to your parents in 15 years? They don't automatically become citizens because they never went through the right channels. So what does happen sometimes? They're deported sometimes. And families are separated that way. But people are just doing their jobs to... They're still illegal
You would think in
immigrants.
Indians we should know this a little bit better, but I feel like after a certain amount of years, if you contributed a certain amount, or there's ways
No, if you come here
there's ways
illegally...
you can still become a citizen without getting deported. Like, if you show certain type of credibility, I believe it is. I'm not too certain. I wish I knew a little bit more.
No, I can tell you. Like, if you have a child and that child grows up to like an adult, and then from there you can somehow bring in your parents as illegal like that.
Yeah, it takes time, but there's a way.
But if you don't get that time, they're still illegal because they haven't... The government hasn't recognized them in any capability.
I agree. They agree. They are illegal. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where my opinion varies a little bit differently, that you should treat it situationally, but whatever. We're never going to get to a perfect world. So if you want to just kick them out because they're illegal, all right, let's say we kick them out because they're illegal, but their children do not have to leave. They have the choice because now they are born in America. You have a hospital record. They know they were born in America. They are official U.S. citizens. I know they're not 18, but they should have the option, and the parents should have the option.
But why U.S. citizen? We have so
They
many...
were born on the land. It's not they were born in Canada or Mexico.
No one is denying their humanity. I'm not denying that they're not
But
human.
if their parents have to go back, then you're basically forcing
I'm not
the
even
children
saying
back.
I'm not even saying their parents have to go back. But what I'm saying is at least lessen, because what you're doing is incentive is a very powerful thing. If there's an incentive to do something, then most likely people will take advantage of it.
But yeah, like do you hear yourself? You're putting like the risk of perverting everything out there. Your people are going to take advantage of it. People are going to benefit, or like reap the system. Like, the more you put a benefit, like, think about it. Think of us as Indians. Think of like when there's a sale, just like in the small scale, like how we try to reap the benefit of it because there's such an incentive to do it. All right, think of just on a small scale of like how
I'm
Asian
not really
people...
cheap like that. So.
But you know what I'm saying. You've grown up with it, so
Yeah,
stop trying to ignore it. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So if you put that on a larger scale, and you're basically like giving incentive for these people to come in here and have children here so they can sustain a longer future in America, you're perverting it more than the illegal immigrants that are coming here already doing it the way they're doing it. I'm sorry, but it's a
What
simple...
do you mean?
Like, you're incentivizing them. Like, I read you that 4 point some unauthorized immigrants, whatever. Those, if all those millions of immigrants and they were somehow converted, or I'm sorry, let me backtrack. If all those immigrants now, if the system was different, and now the system said if you have a child here, you have to do this. You have to raise it this way, and you're not a citizen, but you get residential, and you have to do this and prove. fine, you've made a way for now to recognize who the illegal immigrants are. But now you have more of an influx of illegal immigrants because now they know if I just put a child in there, I can make it a year. If I just make a child in that year, now I have more status and more credibility to stay in this country longer as a residential immigrant and do whatever I want, or because I have 18 years now. I have 18 years till my child becomes an adult.
So you agree with me?
I'm saying if you do it that way, you're going to pervert the system. You're going to incentivize more people and you're going to have more of an immigration problem than you already do.
How?
I just told you how.
I don't get what you mean by that. You mean like if I change it, like if we change it to like if you have a child here, American resident?
If you have a child here and you make it so now the parents have to be residential, right?
Mhm.
They have to be with the child, which is great on you. You're not actually kicking the child away from the parent, all right? So your plan is to basically make them raise a child for 18 years, and then the parents have to try to get some sort of citizenship, and then the child has to get some sort of citizenship
Mhm.
because that's when the child becomes an adult, 18,
Mhm.
by law. So for that 18 years, those parents, now I'm not saying,
Well, I didn't really suggest that. I'm just saying there's another possibility to do it.
what's another possibility? Because regardless, what I'm saying is if you incentivize it for them to, people just have kids because they have, like, life happens and they happen to have a kid on American soil.
Mhm.
And if you just give them that, like you give anybody the right of life, liberty, and
Well,
pursuit
like,
of
okay, first of all,
happiness. No,
if-
listen, if
Mhm.
you give them that opportunity, those kids are gonna grow and prosper. But once you've made it an incentive to have a kid on this land, it's just gonna pervert it. Like I'm telling you, the greed and the incentive to be like, I'm gonna come into this land, find a way, and just have a kid. You're gonna get like the most fucked up people in this land. You're gonna get anybody in this land. Like, you think we have an immigration problem now with everyone saying, "Oh, they're stealing our jobs," yada yada yada. You will have more of an influx of immigration because now you've incentivized them to come to America and have a baby. So not only have you incentivized one, not you need a couple. So you've just added more of your immigration problem. You've added more to your overpopulation in your country.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if they come here to have a child, then they have, as Trump says, an anchor baby to stay in this country because they're the guardian of a US citizen. They have an incentive to come here to have a child so they can stay here.
Okay,
Right?
but isn't it incentive enough for the child to become? But what I'm saying is, if you incentivize it more than it already is, it's gonna become more of a problem. Right now, the incentive is
Well, the
right now the
objective-
incentive is good. The incentive is to let your child have a better opportunity than yours from whatever country you come to, because this is like the land of dreams, or what
I mean,
you
so
know.
how
all
would
that.
how would you stop this incentive then? What would your solution be to stop this? Because right
I don't
now,
agree with the incentive is bad necessarily, but if you incentivize it to the point where it becomes greedy and necessary, then it's only going to pervert the problem and make it worse. The incentive right now is coming from a moral ground. It's coming from a good thing, a good deed. It's not coming from your personal greed to have. Then people are going to have kids for the wrong reasons. You get that? Like, you've incentivized them to have a kid in this land so they themselves, people are bad parents already.
yeah,
You know?
Mhm.
So you're just incentivizing them to have a child so they can stay here longer. Whereas the incentive for them
So
right
this
now,
whole thing is based off that one thing I said before, where I was like possibly making the child a U.S. resident and then granting U.S. residency to their parents, right? That's what you're basing this is off of. What I said before in regards to that.
well,
right?
yeah, well, mainly because you wanted to incentivize it to let them.
No, I don't want to incentivize it. I think there's a miscommunication there because what I meant is that would possibly be a better solution, but that's still not what I want.
What would you like?
I mean, there are gonna be some harsh truths that are gonna have to happen.
Okay, so let me face those harsh truths. What would you like to solve this issue?
Looking at the situation,
Not that I think it's an issue, but go ahead. What would you like?
No, I mean, like if you see illegal immigrants come here and they have a child, at some point you would have to consider deportation.
Of the entire family.
Entire family.
Okay, why?
Because not every single person that comes here
Mhm.
is coming from a fucked up place. definitely check it out to see if they no, if they stand for refugee status. I'm not saying that like send them back to a
Oh,
horrible
okay. So
situation,
you just want to
but
make it a
not all.
refugee type thing, like an international law
Yeah,
type thing.
definitely open up the refugee because we do not want to turn someone away. No, send someone back to a fucked up situation.
Hmm.
But I mean, it sounds super harsh, but like if they're coming from poverty,
Hmm.
but like we may have to send them back because it provides an out for everyone to come to this country that way.
Hmm.
But if they know that their entire family is going to be deported, then they'll try to go through other channels, which I think we should try to open up. We should try to open up more channels or make the current channels easier to come in through. That's another debate too, because right now to come into this country, my cousins are trying to come here, and it's a lot harder to come here through education visa
It's much harder.
because the standard is a lot
And
higher.
nowadays they want to make it harder.
Yeah, but the reason is because they don't want someone coming to this country and then not being able to find a job in the industry they were supposed to come in. When you allow 100 engineers to come in, they're only supposed to go to school for engineering and get a job as an engineer because America has decided we need some more engineers.
But that's
We
not how
don't.
life works. So what if they
No,
don't?
that's how a government works.
I understand that, but what if so kick them out if they don't continue engineering? Basically, is that what
That's
you're saying?
no, that's what happens now. Like if you don't, either you go back to school.
Oh, I know for like student visa
Yeah,
or
you
something,
go
you
back to
have to
school.
stay. But I'm saying like even if you came here to study engineering, a student visa is you as long as you're a student.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously some time limit to it, some
Mhm.
laws and regulations. It's not just you can stay a student forever and stay on a student
Yeah.
visa.
Yeah.
But like that's the idea. It doesn't mean it's an engineering student visa or like you're not. Do you want it to make it that way? Is that what you're saying? You want it to make it selective? That you can only do
Look,
it that way?
it has become more selective because jobs are changing.
Okay, I see. So
we
the
need more
mindset of them is saying like, okay, this person is coming here to study engineering, so I'm gonna let 100 people who are planning to come here to study
and
engineering.
their families
Yeah.
come here too.
Well, student visa is only the
Well, soon, but then they go back to India, marry, and they come back and they bring their family, and the wife becomes a green card holder and all that.
yeah, but
That's
not
fine.
like their parents or uncles.
Oh,
and,
no.
Yeah, that's what
I think sometimes you can argue that, can't you? Like,
I don't think with parents.
I think you get like a certain amount. I think it is possible, like if you only have like just your mother back in India, you can bring your mom here, or something like
That's a
that.
good question.
There
We should get to the bottom
yeah,
of
I
that
think there is
next
something
time.
like that. There's like a limit to how many people you can bring, or like what type of family you can bring.
But not everyone succeeds. Like, okay, I understand if you want to keep it, you have to succeed. So I shouldn't say that.
And
But
just immigration is a hard topic to talk about because it's like you're turning someone away from your country and sending them back.
Look,
It seems horrible.
You didn't say too many wrong things. You kind of see where you're coming from. The only thing I would disagree with you is for the child that was born here. Whatever happens doesn't matter. But you have a child that was born on American land. The idea of America and the idea of the Constitution and the amendment that is there is that they get birthright citizenship. They are a U.S. citizen. They will contribute. Think of the millions and millions of lives that were probably benefits of this right and this law that have contributed to America.
Okay, think about it in a completely different way, not in a strenuous like circumstance. Think about like two people from London coming to the U.S.
Okay.
and they visit for however long, and they happen to have a kid here. Just that happened.
Okay.
They're both back home. They're like it's not like a. They have jobs.
Did they come here illegally or did they come here legally?
They came here on vacation or whatever.
Okay, so
I don't know.
through the correct channels.
They came through the correct channels, but they're
Okay.
not in any way a status citizen or permanent resident or anything like that.
Okay.
And their child was born here.
Okay.
They would making them a U.S. citizen. I don't think is the right answer. I mean, both their parents are going to go back to London. The child would be better off being a citizen of the UK.
Why? I mean, I understand, like, maybe they're better off being a citizen over there, but why are you denying them the right to be a citizen of the U.S.? They were born here. It's not the child's fault that they were born here.
But why is it so important that where exactly you were born at the time, if you have no relation to that country, that you be a citizen of that country? Why not be a citizen of where I would argue it's more important that you're a citizen of where
Because
your parents are a
because
citizen.
at that point you're taking away their free will, their free choice of if you don't want to be a citizen of this country, you can revoke it and go back to whatever country you want to be. But if you want to stay in this country, you're gonna grow up in this country, call yourself American, and contribute to to America.
If one parent is a permanent resident or one parent is a U.S. citizen, then it makes sense because they're starting a life here. But an illegal immigrant is not technically starting a life here. They're not supposed to be.
Okay, but you just gave your example through someone who's coming through from a good situation through the right channels.
Yeah, I'm saying that's a different way of looking at it. Like they don't
But can
need
you
to
look
be
at what if they came here? That same people came here legally and had children.
legally. Yeah,
No,
legally. Fine.
illegally.
They came illegally.
Yeah, they're from London, but they came here illegally.
Mhm.
You know, London's not fucked up, and you know they have a good place back there, or whatever. But they came here illegally because of whatever reason, maybe personal reason that
I would
they're
argue
running
they'd
away.
be
They're running away from like an abusive father or whatever. You don't know. You don't know. Okay. Let me
Okay.
tell you, you don't know their story, but you're gonna judge them anyways. They come here and they came here willingly, obviously, because they're coming here legally,
Mhm.
and they had a child here.
Okay.
What is your solution, or what do you do?
The child is a UK citizen.
Is a UK? They were born here, so but they're a UK citizen.
Yeah, I mean on the birth certificate, born in the United States, but UK citizen. Both parents are from the UK.
Okay, so then what would you do with three of them?
Three of what?
Of the parents and the child that's born now.
I mean,
You've
when
labeled
they,
them a UK citizen, so are you going to let them live in US?
when both parents came here, they came here under some sort of agreement with the law. The law is they're coming here for a certain amount of time.
No, I just told you they came illegally. Use the example I gave you. They're
deport
here
them.
illegally. Deport all three of them.
I would say deport them unless you're putting them back into a dangerous situation. Like you said, if it's an abusive
So then,
family
then
member,
you want to make it situational now.
yeah, if they put up a flag saying that it's like for refugee status or like a bad situation. But in the case of
How do you? But then you're judging their country, not their situation.
what do you mean?
Like, how do you know, even if they came from a good country, they're not running away from a bad situation? They clearly came here of their free choice. They moved, even if they're coming from a good situation. They went away from that good situation
You have to
come here.
No, you have to provide options. Like they can go refugee.
You're
status.
not though. You just want to deport them.
Yeah, deport them unless they have.
Why? Unless you don't know them, they could be running. Even though it could come from a good country, they could be running away from something.
You're way too optimistic in this.
You're way too pessimistic. Like you're just not even pessimistic. You're just number. That's it. It's a number to you. You want to make it situational, but you want to make it based on their country life, not their entire life.
Automatic. Look what I'm saying. That's
segregating to me.
No.
That's segregation.
Automatic. The law says automatic deportation, but they have a right to say no. The country I'm going. They can say no. The country I'm going back to is fucked up. Our family would die. That's like refugee status. And then I'm also saying something.
Yeah, there's different law for refugees.
But then what I'm saying is, then they can raise a flag saying, if I go back, I'm going back to a dangerous situation. That's something I'm saying. That's what it should be.
If it was that dangerous, then they would have refugees.
But it's not our job to assume everyone who comes here legally.
You are though. You're literally saying you're assuming that that country is bad and they might die, so we're not going to send them. But this country is good, but they still might die. You don't know what's happening with them in that country.
The word illegal immigrant. All right. Unfortunately, whatever they're coming from is illegal, means they're breaking a law. So there's a rule to fix that law. But if there's a situation, it needs to be situational.
But you're judging the situation just by country. That's what I'm saying. You're not judging it properly. You're segregating the judging.
Okay, let's say it's Mexico. Mexico, there are a lot of immigrants from Mexico.
Yeah, not
the same
everywhere
thing.
In Mexico is like
Yeah,
horrible.
I would say the same thing too. They would be deported back to Mexico. Unless they raise a flag and say the situation we're going back to is fucked up.
So then everyone will raise a flag.
I mean, then that's we're providing an option for that.
What is the option?
Like if they say the situation we're coming from is fucked up.
What is fucked up? Like I know you're saying fucked up, but let's take the London example. What if they rose a flag and they said we can't go back. You know, London's in good shape. They're not going through civil
Mhm.
war. They don't need refugee status, whatever. But their personal lives, they say we can't go back. What do you do then?
This is something that both governments would have to communicate. The government would have to know like where they're coming from and work with that government. And I'm not suggesting that I have all the answers, but what I'm saying is you can't just
Then
say
you're like just
no. But I'm just
there's no okay.
you're giving the benefit of a doubt to every person that comes here. I understand like when
Isn't
a
that what the
lot of
Constitution is for?
I'll grant you, let's say like 80%, 90% of the people that come here are coming with good intentions, just want a better life for their family. That's all. I'm not saying the people who are coming here are evil, but what I'm saying is the fact is if they're illegal citizens, we need to treat it like a breach of the law, unless there's other circumstances that we don't want to like send them back to a horrible
I
situation.
agree with you. My issue is with the child. Why isn't the child a U.S. citizen?
Because a problem that's arising is there's with people are using their child as a workaround around the system. So
We
I mean,
had a
then
whole
maybe there's a
portion
way to
where
solve this.
where,
No,
where
maybe
you
there's a way
wanted
to solve this.
incentivize it.
Maybe there's a way to solve this that would fit both of our ideologies. I'm not just saying like, oh, I like anyone born here just is not a citizen. And there may be a solution for both ways, but we also need to recognize that one, it's not good just to. There's a reason we have borders, and we need to vet people who come here, and we need to recognize the loopholes people are using, even if it's their own child. We need to be firm in our laws, but we're still the United States. We do take
Yeah,
immigrants.
you call me preachy, but you sound preachy right now. In a perfect world, in a perfect system, like this is
Yeah.
all done like properly and nicely and neatly, non-judged. And if you're going poor situation, oh, you can tell us, but it doesn't work that way. So yeah, I'm gonna start off by
Yeah, I
saying,
can picture the government being pretty fucked up with interviews like, yeah, that's not a bad enough situation. Let's send you back
yeah,
home.
like
I can picture
just
that.
look what
No,
they're
I definitely
doing
see
now.
that.
Like
Yeah.
imagine how they can pervert that even more. Even like, did you hear like about the Georgia run?
The
How
caravan?
not the caravan. The caravan's a whole different Trump story. Just a brief segue off. In the election coming up right now in Georgia, the two candidates running for governor. One of the governors on the Republican side, yeah, so it's a white male. I forget his name, and I forget the other one, but she's a black female, and she might be the first black like female governor if she wins, and she's a Democrat. And the Republican is also like Secretary of State, so he basically runs the voting process while running for governor. And they made it this thing now all of a sudden where if your voter registration doesn't match like your tax ID name and your social security name,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know
get
how
that.
like in the
Yeah.
banking system you have a problem finding the name with like a hyphen or something.
Mhm.
If for some reason that doesn't match, then you're blocked from voting. All right. Who are the people who have difficult names that names don't match? Not white people with names like John, Kevin, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a political ploy. So if you're already getting that perverted now at a small state level, imagine what they would do if they were to start being able to push immigrants out by their free choice and free will.
No, I guarantee you that the system
And when
may not
I
be.
know it sounds very like dreamy, like this country was built on immigrants, yeah, but there's so much truth in that statement. Even the illegal ones that we had problems of, people came in here trying to make a better lives for themselves. Their children now, people we grew up with or people older than us now, they're making, I guess using Trump's slogan, they're making America better. Like there's so much different cultures and different things we get here in America because we've allowed these people to be citizens of America and let them flourish in our country. When you
Let's bring it.
when you
Let's
there's
compare just
so
no.
many
Let's
immigrants.
just compare, just like a very basic comparison. One person comes here illegally. One person comes here legally. Do you deport the illegal person
Not
if they have a better life here compared to where they came from? Not a fucked up life, but I just mean like a better life in America. Do you deport that illegal immigrant?
I'm one to like, I would agree in your perfect world it would be situational, but I would
No,
judge
like
them.
situational. I mean, like right now we have the refugee status. Like we could be sending them back to poverty.
No, like even if they came from a good place, like I get what you're saying. But
Mexico slums, or I don't know what Mexico's like, but
yeah,
I'm
like
saying
no,
like
no, I wouldn't, because I would make it like almost like a. We talked about one time making like tests for people to come in when we were talking about refugees at one time with the whole Syrian issue. You were like, should we put them in boxes and have them tested and like
the fuck put
not
people in boxes?
Not
what we
like,
talked about this?
Like not boxes, but like in facilities, and then like your idea was like to have a certain test where like they have to make sure they're not a threat or something like that, and then let them in the country. You don't remember this whole? Now I'm just sounding like an idiot on the podcast. Come on, dude.
No, maybe I said it.
Come on, dude.
I said that you should have a test to have a child.
I know you said that too, but whatever. Now I forget where I'm going at this point because you just made me sound like an idiot.
But no, just answer the question though. Like, should we deport that person?
Well, that was my whole point, was that you would make something to find out if this person is a threat, like kind of judge them on a fair basis, and if they're going to be.
That's where we disagree. I would say deport them.
No,
if they came in illegally.
Because what if? Now I know this is getting like very dreamy, but what if that person were, or what if their child were to become president of the United States and actually make the United States like one of the most powerful and greatest countries again in the world? You don't know that.
But under that basis, that means we should let everyone just come in.
No, but I'm saying in my perfect world, you're still gonna vet and like get these people situated and make sure they're the right people to be in your country.
But then why bother having a student visa, a work visa?
No,
why have these things?
You should. No, absolutely, you should still have those things. But there are people who can't. When you make it harder, then people have to find a different way. So I'm saying, like, yes, you should lighten the laws. You should make it more accessible, but also be.
No, but I'm asking you one question: is if an illegal immigrant comes into this country, we deport them, right?
No.
See, that's okay.
I don't agree with that.
Forget about the entire baby thing. That's that part.
But the issue was the birthright citizenship.
I know, but this is the root of the problem. If we don't agree on this fundamental thing, then yeah, we're gonna be arguing about this baby thing forever. This is the fundamental thing we disagree on.
But I'm not. But you're not gonna catch all the illegal immigrants. Like that's
not the question. I'm asking you. You catch an illegal immigrant within the United States. Do you deport them? You know they're illegal.
No.
See, then that's
you don't deport them right away.
I mean, obviously they go to immigration court.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You go through a process. You have to find out.
But then you find out that they're a legal citizen and they're an illegal immigrant.
The only crime is them being illegal. No, I don't think that's right for them to get deported back to a country they don't want to be at.
So then why have these visas? It's just like a game of tag. Okay, I'm just going to...
Well, they obviously had to do it a different way because you've made it damn near impossible for that person to do it through the right channels. That's the only reason. That's the only reason we have an illegal immigration problem.
Those channels.
That I agree with. But
then you're not agreeing with me with the fact as if they're.
But they shouldn't be deported. I don't agree with that.
I mean that's the law. That's what we.
It's a perverted law.
Now take out the United States. Pick any country. If someone comes in illegally, do you deport them? Yeah, you deport them. That's the whole point of a country. You deport them. You have citizens and you have people you've granted access to your country under certain circumstances.
Well, I would say it's very.
If you come in without,
I would take it old school back and say that's very. I keep going back to the word perverted because this is a very man-made concept. These borders and these people. This is land, and people go and discover land, and we've made it into this borders and countries and these people and that people. And that's why I go back to the idea of like America was this great idea of a melting pot. I agree you need to be safe, so you should have right channels. But like think back when New York was like booming with immigrants and all these people that were able to come here. We didn't have terrorist attacks then. We didn't have government doing fucked up shit then. No, we just had people working hard, moving to land to find better situations, to get better life. That's all people want to do. But when you start adding this corruption and greed and trying to process this law and process that, and this person's here illegally, and because it's a law and written down, and he broke the one written thing down, we're going to push him back. And you're ruining what it used to be and what it's supposed to be. I understand that we come at a different age and time where law needs to be abided and we have different technologies and different systems. But maybe I'm getting into the idea of that's what's wrong with the
I
world,
mean,
but
I have two things to say to that. The first being like, yeah, I'm all for being inclusive and not having borders between cultures and different people. But when you're in a country, the government is essentially a big body run by the taxes of the U.S. citizens. So then when you add when you
so
add
if you
some
find an
population,
illegal immigrant, find a way to get him be taxed. Find a way for him to have a job and him to get some sort of visa. Don't just deport him.
okay, but then if you have people, like you have to realize the people who are coming, if they're educated, they can support and contribute. But let's say,
So give them a student visa and let them
okay,
be educated.
how are they going to pay for school?
How do hundreds and millions of people do it? They find a job at night and they go to school at day. Like these things are possible. You
Okay,
have to give them the opportunity to do so, though.
I'm all for giving people opportunity, but like when you have, okay, the biggest stereotype is like Mexicans cut lawns, right?
Yeah.
Down south, where there's a huge amount of that, you have people before working jobs, like Americans working jobs, cutting lawns, doing all this stuff. And the biggest argument that annoys me the most is saying, "Oh, Americans don't want to do these type of hard jobs." No, it's because people who come from another country are able to undercut Americans because they don't pay taxes on what they earn, and obviously they're coming from a different
I would disagree
standard
with
of life.
I would disagree with you when you say no, they don't want to work hard. Like, I mean, just look how America's history has come to everything. Can we make everything easier? How can we make everything fun, big, larger? Like that's all America. And when like people have this issue of illegal immigration, but yet they will hire a Mexican in a heartbeat to cut their lawn. I guarantee you, in their mind, they're 100% sure that person's illegal immigration, or I'm sorry,
Yeah, that's what I'm
illegal
saying.
immigrant.
That's what I'm
But they
saying.
will hire them in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But what happens to the American who was making a living for the past 10 years doing
If you
that?
have such a problem with it, why are you hiring these people? You are feeding into
The
the problem.
problem is
Then.
not the employer. The employer is trying to make a living.
Why is it not the employer? You want to do it to now let's take it into bigger scale. The government is the employer, and these immigrants are the lawn cutting people.
Yeah.
They keep saying, "Oh, they're a problem," but they're going to keep letting them in because they need them. They're the ones who built this country. They're the ones who everything is built off
And
of.
that could be argued that it's fucking over Americans. Yeah, okay, I'm not saying
What do you constitute as an American? Do you say it in like
a
just today?
citizen.
Oh, I know a citizen.
It could
but
be a Mexican citizen. I mean, like a Mexican, someone who came from Mexico and they're a U.S. citizen.
yeah, like you're Indian, so I know you would think differently for an illegal Indian, right? Or would you want to deport them back to India
If they came here illegally,
illegally?
they had no premise of coming here in any legal fashion.
Nope.
Oh, they just like came in a boat and like smuggled.
No, I mean however they did it, they're not here legally. I know a
Okay.
lot of families who still have, parts of the family members who are here illegally through whatever channel they did. Maybe their visas have expired now and they're still hiding. Whatever it is,
Okay.
they are now illegal. You want to deport all them back?
See, that's tough.
Now it's tough because now it's close to your family. Now it's close to your people.
No,
now
no.
it's tough for you.
No, now it's tough because I can think of some situations where if someone's been here for like 6 years and they still haven't found a job, they've
Then
been here for
deport them?
So if they haven't been here and they haven't applied for an extension and they haven't gotten anything, I mean, under the law currently, they would be deported.
No, I'm not asking they would be deported. Do you deport them? Come on, Mr. Lawman. Do you deport them?
That's rough, but yeah, you would deport them.
There you go. You fucked up. That's
No,
it.
it's
That's
not
it.
fucked up.
I understand you fall
Yeah,
under the law, but
there's-
it's like they're they're not bad people. You know they're here to work
I'm
hard.
not saying
They came here for a
anyone-
reason.
We both agree if like a murderer comes here, we deport them.
I get that.
So I'm
but
not even saying that some people are good or bad. I'm saying everyone we're talking.
Then it
it's
becomes racism. Then it becomes
it's a
segregation.
hard-
Then you're judging people.
The reason I paused is because now we can see the faces of people. But it's still hard when I'm talking about people down south like Mexicans. I'm assuming all these people are good people. It's a tough choice, but we also have to consider American citizens too. American citizens people suffer when you do this kind of stuff. Yeah, the focus is on the illegal immigrants because their situation is tough, but it's also hurting Americans as well. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, you don't care about anyone. There are two sides of the coin, and there are people suffering on both sides.
I agree. There are two sides, and I think we keep going at this for hours and hours. We're gonna find a way to disagree with each other.
The one thing I would like to say, though, I think we come to a point of somewhat understanding of each other on our points a little bit.
Yeah.
Is just that if someone takes a conservative side on immigration, there are some fucking racist ass people out there who just like, oh, fuck, get out of my country. But like, I feel like some conservatives, and that I've watched and met, and myself included, it's not like we're saying these things because we're like inherently racist.
We're saying it if like the world was perfect, almost like if we come from a perfect world. It's perfect, unfortunate that we have like this racism and segregation and things like that.
In a perfect world, we have like a global government, and you can go anywhere and do whatever you want. But unfortunately, we have governments in countries that are radically different than their neighbors. So I mean, this was a tough. We got away, but I guess the root of the problem is just immigration.
I see, like, you know, where law is law. I see where you come from, but I hope you open your when I brought it close to your family, like you see how tough it is, right?
Yeah, I'm saying it would be heartbreaking for anyone close to this situation.
Yeah, so it's a tough thing that we have to go through, but I will,
because you said that, I was like, damn, I'd be like,
you were saying it so clearly, right? Deport them. But you had to pause then.
If what I said was law, I would literally be saying, all right, deport like 5 of my family members right now.
Exactly.
But I mean, the thing is, it's a tough choice. It's like Spider-Man. When he had to pick between Aunt May and saving 1,000 people, they're both fucked up. Yeah, they're both fucked up choices.
That's completely different, but I get what you're saying.
That's how I felt.
No, immigration is a tough topic. I totally agree.
This was supposed to be a short, but one time we should make this a TBT and do some research.
I almost think this could be a TBT. We kind of went at it with each other,
but next time we'll do more like research and like.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We hope you guys enjoyed. We hope you guys got some sort of idea of it. As you can see, we can still get heated, but we can respect each other's idea. I know immigration is a hot button topic because it affects a lot of people's life. I'm a recipient of this amendment and this law, and it's benefited me and my life. So obviously, I have such an emotional attachment to it, and what my family is too. But we don't mean any harm, and we don't. We're not like angry at each other, obviously, but. We love this type of conversation, this type of opening minds, and what we can see and what we can accomplish together. We can only do it with narrative and talk. But we'll get back to immigration at another point.
Yeah.
We have different ideas and theories. I think that's we have a lot of hot button topics that we get heated on. Immigration is definitely one of them.
That's definitely one of them. And next time we'll flesh it out more, and there are specifics, but I think next time we'll talk about the root of the topic. But we are going over our time a little bit.
Yes.
So, Mr. White, if someone wanted to potentially follow us.
So we've officially launched. Well, I know this is like a couple episodes in, but like we all
took you forever to get me that paragraph.
I know, I'm sorry, but like our website is done. Everything is done. You can find us at tvjunkies.com. Everything is posted there. You can learn about us. You can, obviously the main thing is the episodes. The episodes are all posted there. You can listen to them there. You can leave a comment if you like. And then if you scroll down, you can contact us, Mr. Black, Mr. White individually, or TB Junkies. And you can find us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TB Junkies. You can find it through the website, or you can go on the social media. Thank you guys so much. We hope you guys are listening, commenting, sharing. We love all of it. And if even no one is there, this was a fun conversation.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.